Brad Nelson, how you doing?
Doing good, Kirk. You called.
I did. Do you know what happens sometimes on the base of Mount Manitoba?
Well, the only thing I know about Manitoba is it's flat and it's cold.
Well, it's really cold, but so you know what I've got from the fine people here at Okupa? Take a look at this.
Oh, what is that?
That is a rechargeable hand warmer. Makes a
Ooh,
great Christmas gift. And you can check them out at okupa.com. And let me tell you about this little gizmo here. It's the industry
okay.
leading brand of rechargeable hand warmers over the last few years, founded in 2017. They've provided great options for people who are going outside or even inside if you want. Maybe you got some maybe getting a little cold inside. Some people when they're older, you kind of need something to hold on to. For me, it's great because I've got a little dog who needs to go outside all the time, and she hasn't figured out how to do her business. So sometimes it's really good for me to just sort of like hold on to that. Also, too, I'm going to go ice fishing this winter. I'm going to bring this. So I'm going to have one hand here, one hand on my beard, one hand on the pole.
So you can recharge that
Yes, I can
with your
recharge
three
that
hands.
with my three hands.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can recharge it. So you're not worried about any waste or anything like that.
No,
Because the
no.
regular little crushable hand warmers, you find a place to turf them once they're dead.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So this is like the newest state of the art one. So every time they're always trying to innovate, much like ourselves. We're always innovating as we do on notinhalloffame.com. So
Truly
it is
that.
something that's very unique and it makes a great Christmas gift. And guess what? You can buy that for the Black Friday promo. But you got to do that pretty quick because it's ending on November 28th.
Okay, so where do I go to get it?
Okupa, OCOOPA.com. And there's a promo code
Nice. Okay, hit me with the
25%.
promo code.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
gonna write this
25%
down.
off. Kirk 25. It's easy to remember because I'm Kirk and 25 is half my age.
Nice. Nice and easy to remember.
Yeah, but it's also the percentage that you get. So I think it's something that would make a great Christmas gift. I think I might give that to Andrea. What do you think?
She could use it walking the dog for sure.
She could use that walking the dog. You don't have a
Yeah.
dog, but I mean,
I
like,
don't have a dog,
you
but
don't
I
have a
have cold hands sometimes, so I'm
yes.
gonna use your promo code.
Absolutely. You can do that, Kirk 25. And yes, check this out. I'm really, really proud of this cool product. I didn't make it, but I kind of wish I did. I kind of wish I came up with this idea. It'd be a great
No
idea,
doubt.
right?
It's a
Yes,
good idea.
absolutely. So thank you so much. And check that out, everyone. Hurry, buy it now.
I'm looking forward to getting mine.
From high atop Mount Manitoba, look at this. Usually we don't have the sun sort of in the back of this, Evan,
I know we both have to block it with our heads here.
or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sort of doing my white boy shake here. Look at that. But it is the Hall of Fame show, season 3, episode 43, where Evan Nolan, Kirk Buchner, we operate notinhalloffame.com. The sister site's the Fictitious Athlete Hall of Fame. We'll have some big news on that next week. The Fictitious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, big news on that next week. And the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. Vote now. www.notinhalloffame.com/USA. I almost forgot. I say this so often. But yes, that's where all of you will vote on who you think should be in the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. It's something that Evan and I created along with some other special people, including former Olympians, a former 7-time Pro Bowler. So it's not just us two fanboys who come up with this. There's a lot of fanboys in this group, but yeah, we've got some pretty solid credibility in that.
We're old enough to be fan men, my friend.
Oh, me especially. So happy Thanksgiving. You guys do it on the wrong week, but that's okay.
Yeah. Whatever. We invented this fake holiday, so
Aren't all holidays fake?
I suppose that is true. Yeah, I suppose that's true.
I mean, the big one coming up, celebrating somebody who wasn't actually born on that particular day. But we can go into that another time. We're still gonna, well, Pauline, my wife, and I, we're still gonna put up a tree, put it high enough so that the two dogs can't get at it, and dance around the Charlie Brown thing. So we're gonna have our
So
holiday.
you want to go on record that Jesus Christ was actually born in October and they just changed it in order to go with the solstice?
I thought it was April. I don't know the exact story.
I think it's October because they
October?
somehow they determined that there was actually a big star in the sky from like September 30th through October 15th of whatever year.
I just
I
know
guess
it wasn't
0.
the actual day. That's all I know.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, no, that was
What
all
do,
I
what do
know.
astronomers know?
Well, sure. I got some other things I could say on that, but I'm not going to at the risk of offending some people, which usually doesn't stop me, but it's going to stop me here. Before we get into our main event, where we're going to look at the semifinals for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I thought something we've never talked about. Twisted Sister is going to be inducted into the Metal Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the Metal Hall of Fame. I had never realized there was one.
I honestly wasn't sure about that myself, to be honest. And then because every day I just do like a quick search on Hall of Fame stuff, and sometimes I'm more happening with that than others. I like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. Looked at what it was. So there's not actually a physical building, but
who needs a building for Hall of Fame? I mean, come on.
we don't.
No.
Well, I mean, it's near Mount Manitoba.
Yes, if I look right out my window, the headquarters is in Mount Manitoba. So
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, that's also where we hold the Naughton Hall of Fame Cup, which is awarded every year to those who have the most cup points. I can give you the cup standings too if you want.
Oh, go for it.
Oh, do you want that?
How is Flagon beating Collins?
I'm sorry, what?
Flagons and Collins, and different types of cups. I was just coming out with different types of cups for the cup points.
Okay, whatever that is
drinking vessels, my friend. A cup.
I don't know. I mean, I just put beer in something, and if it holds,
it was a joke. Never mind. It's just forget it. Keep going.
Well, I'm the one here because I'm stupid. Anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna tell everyone here. I think this might be a little weekly thing we'll do here. The Non-Hall of Fame Cup. It's something that I started because I look at the box scores. Obviously, I can't watch every game, but of every single NHL game, every NBA game, every MLB game, and I assign points 5, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Simple enough. As this is sort of the third year I've been doing that, I've been realizing some things haven't been as good as they should be. Trying to like make sure that I'm working on blocked shots, other defensive metrics. In terms of hockey, basketball, I'm putting more of a premium on box plus minus than I have in previous years.
Okay.
So I think if somebody sort of like scores 30 points, but they've got a minus 25 plus minus, maybe you didn't do so well.
Right.
So I try to put that in perspective. So currently, and this is, I got to write about that because we have our first 75-point person, and that is in the basketball, Steph Curry is at 76 points.
Seems about right. Although that's numbers not divisible by 3, which seems strange for Curry.
Well done. Well done. Kevin Durant at 73, because somebody's got to score for that shit team.
He's not saying his teammates are shit. He's just saying, how do you expect us to win games with me and these 4 people around me on the starting lineup?
Jason Tatum at 72.
It's been pretty good.
Luka Doncic, 71.
He was also pretty good. That game, the Mavs played the Celtics in Boston this week. That was a very entertaining game to watch.
Number 5, first time. We'll see if he finishes in the top 10. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, fellow Canadian.
He is super duper fun. Yeah, he was. You rarely get to see him. That game, Celtics and Thunder game was really the first time I've seen him for a full game. That dude is way too good to be in Oklahoma City on that team.
That's definitely where you're getting a lot more points for these cup points when there really is nobody else on your team. So John Morant, 64 points, Giannis at 63, Trae Young and Devin Booker at 60, and Donovan Mitchell and Anthony Davis at 59. Davis has been on fire right now.
Yeah, it's helped his team a lot too. Yeah, they should trade. They should trade him and try and get some of their stuff back.
And in hockey, you'll like this.
Mm-hmm.
So get right up back here to the top.
I like it better if we could pay him.
Yeah. In the hockey thing, well, they should all get paid because, hey, agents, work on this for your guys. This is a very prestigious cup. It's so prestigious. It's guarded by a corgi and a mini dachshund.
Pretty prestigious.
Yes. Well, tied for 37, 37 points. Connor McDavid and David Pasternak.
Austin's been pretty damn good this year.
Yeah. Jason Robertson at 36, tied with Nick Suzuki of Montreal.
Okay.
That one's a bit surprising because you look at what his actual point total is, but when Suzuki scores, it's usually he's the only Hab who's sort of doing it. So it sort of goes to that whole thing. I mean, if someone's going to get awarded points on a team, usually it's
that's the person who scores the points. It's weird how that works.
Yeah. Linus Ullmark at 35, tied with Erik Karlsson of San Jose.
He has been a freaking revelation. When we signed him a couple years ago, we're like, why, who, what?
Yeah, exactly.
And he has been fantastic. Now he had got landed on by one of his own teammates the other day. By the way, in the 12th straight win at home to start off the season for the Boston Bruins. The Bruins broke the NHL record for most consecutive home wins to start a season. It had been 11 on 3 separate occasions, but the Bruins made number 12. So, which every time you can break an all-time record for the NHL, which has been around for a while, that's pretty cool.
Since 1917.
Yep. Bruins have only been around since 26, so they're latecomers. But
yeah, today actually marks the anniversary of the formation of the National Hockey League.
Wow. And we should celebrate their greatest ever commissioner.
Hey, moving on up, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'll take him over the FIFA president. Today I am gay. Today I am a migrant worker. Today I am. I'm not making this up, kids. He actually said this.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
Holy shit. Anywho.
Right. Yeah, it was somehow both trying to be woke and completely
tone
deaf. Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was like somehow both sides of the political spectrum. It was like, I'm super woke and I have a black friend. It was basically what they were doing. It was both sides of the political spectrum in one cringeworthy speech. I don't know. I mean, the guy's last name is Infantino, so I mean, his last name is Child in Italian. So,
well, he's coming up with all sorts of new ways to defend Qatar. So,
we'll get into that later.
Oh, we will. Austin Matthews, 7th at 34 points. Another Maple Leaf at 33. John Tavares tied with, again, this is the Nick Suzuki rule. Brady Tkachuk of Ottawa. Ottawa, what a disappointment they are. And rounding out the top 10, tied at 31, Mikko Rantanen and Sidney Crosby.
Yeah. Well, I just read it. Ottawa, just by the way, is already 21 points out of first place in their division, and they've only played 20 games.
This was supposed to be a challenge for a playoff spot this year.
But the thing is, they're only 6 goals under. Like, they're a -6, a plus minus.
I think a lot of it too is their goalie this year, Forsberg, has not been what he was last year.
No, and the East, I think, is also significantly better than the West.
Yeah,
with the exception of the Knights and the Kraken and the Avalanche are picking things up. The Jets have been pretty good actually too,
surprisingly. And it's the same team. I mean, that's I guess why you play the game.
Right. I mean, it's the same Bruins team. It's actually our Bruins team from 2 years ago. We just went back and got Krejci from the Czech Republic.
Same Devils team.
Yeah, same Devils team who's been awful forever. And won, what did they win? 13 in a row, 14 in a row, something like that.
And I got no Devils on this here because I guess it's all being spread out among these guys.
Yeah.
So crazy. It takes a while then you get like a glut of them.
The Bruins are 18-3. The Devils are 17-4.
Yeah. And it's a very balanced hockey club. It's really out of nowhere. This is the shit that gets you a coach of the year.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, both the Bruins. I mean, the Bruins' current coach, the Bruins' former coach, over in Vegas, and who's actually coach of the Devils right now? That's fine. I actually haven't been paying attention. We haven't played the Devils yet, so I haven't seen them on the bench.
Neither have we.
Yeah, but it's just, they've been fantastic. So,
Yeah, as soon as I said that's the thing that gets you coach of the year, I thought, oh fuck, I hope it doesn't.
Crap, I don't know who this
Yeah.
is. It actually reminds me because ESPN had that or Sports Jeopardy show at one point, and one of the first final questions was basically who's the coach of the New Jersey Devils, and they didn't know at that point it's Pat Burns. That shows you how long ago it was. But yeah, it was like one of the questions. This person just had no idea, and now I feel like that same guy on the TV show from 2003 or whenever. So,
well, there's a lot more things on.
yeah, that is
Okay.
true.
All right, so we've got the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They have been very busy, so let's take a look at their semifinalists. Let me just bring up everything that we have.
Mm-hmm.
That it's gonna have too many windows open.
I may have a little bit of a rant on this when we get to the end, just so you know.
Sure. So I'm going to read them all off. So it's 28 finals. Usually it's 25, but I guess like us, because when we do our mock committee, if we come up with a tie, we run with that. And you'd be proud of me. I made sure Kevin Williams was there.
Thank you. That's my freaking rant. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Just by the way, you name them, and I'll tell you how many times they've been semifinalists, just so that people at home know.
Sure. So you'll do that. And do you want to give your prediction as to whether they're going to be a finalist?
Sure.
Okay. So we'll start off alphabetically. Like I said, Eric Allen, cornerback.
This is his third consecutive time as semifinalist list, third time overall. I do not think he's making the final 15. There's a couple people in front of him who, including one in their final year, I don't know is technically in front of him, but may get more consideration because it's the final year of the ballot, if there is one. So I don't think Eric Allen's making it through. Heck of a player. I would definitely have wanted him on my team.
Sure.
But
Jared Allen, defensive end.
Third consecutive semifinalist here for Jared Allen. He's been a finalist the last 2 years as well. He's been a semifinalist every year he's been eligible. I think he'll be a finalist. I don't think he'll get in, though, this year.
Okay.
I am very low on Jared Allen as a candidate. Just I'm on record as that. So
you're not the only one when we do our mock committee. I mean, like we always seem to get him to the finals, but it's usually where he stays. Here's one that's really got really interesting in our mock committee. Willie Anderson, offensive tackle.
Yep. So this is Willie's third time in a row being a semifinalist. It took him a couple of years. I can't remember what year of eligibility this is for Willie. I think 7 or 8.
We retired in 2008, so that would have been 2014. So since 2014.
Yeah, so 8.
Yeah,
so this is 8th time. So he's been a semifinalist 2 years ago, finalist, and last year. I think Willie gets through again. I mean, we knocked out one of his people who was sort of blocking him last year with Baselli getting in. And with Baselli getting in, he was the only offensive lineman left on the ballot.
Yeah. So when we did our mock one, I can tell my wife's coming home. Jasper's sort of alerting that to that issue. When we did our mock up, we actually discarded him because Jeff and a few other people, actually, for that matter, brought up sort of a stat that has never been verified.
Yeah.
Which is basically that Willie says, or somebody said they came up with that to Willie and said, okay, you've only allowed 14 or 16 sacks, which we don't know that that's actually true. So that was sort of a stat and Jeff's right when he brought that up. Like that, since that stat came up, he kind of became fringe candidate to now on the path to becoming a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's true. I don't have time to research it, but I will say that has been a huge push for him, and the lack of Bengals has been a huge push.
That's true.
We're going to get our second Bengal probably this year with Ken Riley.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Anthony Munoz and Terrell Owens played for them for a year, and there's one other person, James Lofton or somebody. There's somebody else who played for them for a year as well, and that's it for the Bengals in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. So Ken Riley will be the second. Ken Anderson probably should be the third, but it's possible Willie beats him there.
Yeah. Rondé Barber, cornerback safety.
Yeah, sorry, I just say Ken Anderson could be beaten to the Hall of Fame by another Ken and another Anderson who played for the same team, which is ridiculous.
That's awesome.
That just occurred to me. Rondé, this is his 6th time as a semi-finalist. He has been a finalist the last 2 years. I think he gets up there again. I don't know if he gets in because of somebody who has just hit the ballot. I don't know if they're going to do 2 defensive backs in a row on the same ballot, but we'll see.
Anquan Bolden, wide receiver.
Anquan Bolden, second year in a row, second time as a semifinalist. This is tricky. I don't know. There's so many. There's what, 6 wide receivers on this list? 7 wide receivers on this list? Yeah. So one out of every 4 people on this list are wide receivers. I think it's tough for Bolden to get through just with who else is going to be on the list, particularly since we have 2 other wide receivers who were finalists last year who are still here. And another person who I'm a huge proponent of, we'll get to in a second, who's in their final year of eligibility. So I think it's going to be hard for Bolden to get in this time, but he is definitely on the radar.
Well, let's go to that person. That's someone I think you and I are both very, very happy with. I think a lot of us are in our little group. Henry Ellard, wide receiver, who is eligible for the last time. I believe this is the first time.
This is his only time as a semifinalist, which is insane.
Yeah.
Henry Ellard retired as the number 2 wide receiver in receptions all time. Had Jerry Rice not existed, he would have been number 1 at the time he retired. He's currently way down the list because I don't know if anyone's noticed, the passing rules have changed. Henry Ellard was probably the second best, maybe third best wide receiver of his era. And no offense to Anquan Bolden and Steve Smith and Hines Ward and anyone else who people want to bring up, right? Those guys were at no point the third best receiver of their era.
No.
So I don't understand why we are jumping him with other people, why it's taken this long. But Ellard, I'm glad at least is getting this hearing. We'll see. I think of the 2 people who are in their last year who both got semifinalists, he has a better shot to make the finalist list than the other one. We'll get to the cornerback. We're going to come up.
I think so, because just based on that, what you just said alone, you can make that statement for Ellard. You can't make that for the other person coming up.
You cannot. No.
Right. This one's a nice surprise for me, and I didn't actually push hard for him on the committee because I was sort of like more pushing towards. I follow the Jack Silverstein model. Follow Jack. Read Jack Twitter.
Jack Silverstein is really, really good at what he does.
Yeah, you don't even have to be a Bears fan to
no.
It helps.
It does help, but
which I'm not. But I mean, it still helps. It's still incredible. But it's Jari Evans. So I guess I believe this is the first member of the New Orleans Saints Super Bowl winning team. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Who's now a semifinalist. So he's a first-year one. This is a nice surprise for me.
Because the only other one who's even eligible has been in conversation and is not there for obvious reasons. Wasn't Darren Sharper on that team?
Darren Sharper was on that team.
Yeah, and Darren Sharper's never in the Hall of Fame for the same reason Jim Tyra's never in the Hall of Fame.
No.
Or not the same reason, a different reason, but the same sort of idea. Yeah, I mean, Jari Evans, anyone can come up with whatever list they want in order to determine who's going to get in the Hall, but the Pro Football Reference has their ranking system. According to their ranking system, Jari Evans is the 9th greatest offensive guard of all time.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me to argue that he doesn't deserve this. Will he get there? I think he's got a pretty good shot, honestly. Like I said, Willie Anderson's the only other offensive lineman who's left over. We have another obvious offensive lineman who's going in first time here in a second. But Jari Evans if he's not a finalist this year, he probably will be next year.
Sorry about the interruption. Good. I had to just go stop because put up your paw if you poop on the floor and try to eat it. Put up your paw if you were just outside for 30 minutes with your mother and you could have done that outside.
Yeah. Well, thing about docs, he says they're super cute.
All right. So yeah, for those just listening, this won't be as cute, but
yeah, it was not any It was a four-legged member of his family, not anyone else. So anyway, so we were talking about Jari Evans before that happened.
Well, yeah, because I thought we sort of like ended that, and we're just going to go right to London Fletcher.
Another first-time semifinalist.
Yeah. Well,
It's nice seeing Fletcher here. He was a tackling machine. Led the league in tackles. I don't remember this off the top of my head, but I care. It was multiple times.
Yeah.
He just played on a lot of bad teams that didn't have the rep of Keachley. But London Fletcher is definitely someone who deserves to be a conversation. I don't think he's going to get the finalist list.
No.
But it's good to see him at this point, at least in the conversation.
Oh, I forgot to ask. So, is Evans getting into the finals?
I was saying when you were being interrupted there.
By my four-legged friend, yes.
I think that we have another offensive lineman who's definitely coming on the list. Anderson is the only holdover. I'd say it depends on how many wide receivers they put on.
Gotcha.
If Jari Evans isn't on this year, he will be next year. He's probably like at the 14 through 17 line. I don't think he'll get in this year if he is a finalist. But he's probably in that 14 to 17 line as to where things are. Would I be shocked if he's on? No. Would I be shocked if he's off? No. He's like kind of right at that point.
All right. So we have another first ballot. Dwight Freeney, defensive end.
Yep. According to that system, he's the 15th best defensive end of all time. It's his first year of eligibility. Freeney was a freaking force as someone who had to play against him in a lot of important games. He always seemed like a Hall of Famer to me. You had to game plan that Colts defense around Freeney. Like when Freeney was the guy you had to take care of. And I know Bob Sanders was there and a few other guys, and Robert Mathis and others, but Freeney was the guy on those defensive teams. And I fully in favor of Freeney. I think he probably makes it to the list. I certainly would want Freeney in over Allen. So
once you get to the finals, generally,
it's hard to fall off. It's happened before.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened to Bryant Young. Bryant Young was there, fell off, and then came back on. So and got in last year. So I think Freeney's probably gonna be a finalist. I don't know if he gets in. It's gonna be a very interesting finalist list when we get there. So, but yeah, I'm not surprised. I think he'll probably be a finalist.
Okay. James Harrison, another first one. I loved watching him play, but there's some negatives around him.
Yeah. Former defensive player of the year in the league, which certainly helps. Was completely disowned by Steelers fans because he played for the Patriots for a season.
Not even a season.
What?
Not even a season.
No, it wasn't even a season. That's true. It's like when the Lakers fans said they were disowning Shaq for playing for the Celtics for a little bit. But I don't think he probably makes it on the finalist list this year. I'm not surprised to see him as a semifinalist. I just think there's too many middle linebackers. Two of whom we haven't gotten to yet are going to be on the list. I can't imagine putting three.
Okay. Rodney Harrison.
I was very excited to see this.
I thought you might be.
Yeah, Harrison, this is his second time as a semifinalist. I need to find out when the last time was.
Actually, I might have that. Actually, 2021.
Yep, No. Or hold on. I just typed in Harrison, and all I'm getting is Rodney on my thing. Marvin. Your son looked pretty good today, by the way.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, Rodney was 2021. You're correct.
Okay.
I don't think Rodney's getting there. If there's one thing that Rodney does not have, it is Pro Bowl nominations. We always joke that Rodney Harrison has one Pro Bowl and Brandon Merriweather has two, which is all you need to know about the Pro Bowl. But Rodney was
one NBA ring. Charles Barkley, 0.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think he's going to be a semifinalist. It's interesting to see him as the next. Well, there are two Patriots on this list. I was expecting one. I was not expecting the Harrison to be the other. I was thinking it was going to be Logan Mankins, who's not here and has been a semifinalist before. but it's great to see him here. We'll see. I love Rodney Harrison. Patriots fans love Rodney Harrison. They always say, he's the most philanthropic player in the league because he led the league in fines ever, and all that money goes to the former players. But I mean, he also has he unlike Peyton Manning, who had the HGH shipped to his wife's, Rodney had it shipped to himself under his name.
To be fair, I haven't seen Peyton's wife. I don't even know what she looks like. Maybe she is using it.
Have you seen how much Peyton Manning's forehead has shrunk since he retired?
It looks the same size to me.
Oh man. Anyway,
okay, because I just saw him in the commercial with Pretty Boy there.
David Beckham.
Thank you.
And then he's in the commercial with his brothers that's making Cooper Manning the true star of the family. The Caesars commercials.
What? Cooper?
Yeah, 100%.
Cooper knows his role as a hanger-on. He's the Lanny Poffo of football.
He's the Kevin Jonas.
I don't know I can't tell the Jonases apart, but okay. Well, okay, the Lanny Poffo, who's Randy Savage's brother, because he would say that when other wrestlers would say, "You're only here because you're Randy's brother." Go, yeah.
The Aussie kid Seiko. Anyway, so I don't think it's great to see him here. I don't think he's to make the semifinals list. What?
Brent Gretzky.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So here's someone who I think
Frank Stallone just came to mind as well.
I'm down, but I am far from over.
Wow, very nice.
Well, I mean, one of your deaf people who I think just passed away today is gonna the same era.
Yeah, true. Next up,
Devin Hester.
Yeah, Devin Hester, second time eligible, second time as a semifinalist. He was a finalist last year. There's no reason not to think he's going to be a finalist again this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hester actually has a decent shot at getting in. He was in the 6 to 10 group last year.
Yep.
The only thing that's holding him back is the fact that we have probably 3 first ballots coming on.
Potentially.
And we had one person who people thought might have been a first ballot last year who's still here.
Right.
So we'll see. But Hester will be a finalist. He's getting in the next 2 or 3 years. I don't know if he gets in this year, but the next 2 or 3 he'll be in.
All right. So we have the next 2 wide receivers. Torrey Holt.
Yeah, 9th time as a semifinalist for Torrey Holt.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see if they jump the line of wide receivers. I mean, it'd be great to see Ellerden. Holt is technically the one who's been waiting the longest. Depends how you feel about someone else coming up. I would put Holt in over the other person left from last year. He will be a finalist. We'll see if he gets in.
That man you're speaking of is Andre Johnson.
Yeah. Actually, sorry, there are 3 holdovers from last year. Yeah, Andre Johnson, second year. He was a finalist last year, second time a semifinalist. We'll see him there.
All right, so someone we alluded to earlier, Albert Lewis at corner.
Yeah, Albert Lewis this is his second time as a semifinalist. The last time he was a semifinalist was
2013.
Yep, 2013. Long time ago. That's like, but the other semifinalists from 2013, the only ones not in.
Mm-hmm.
Don Coryell, Roger Craig, Joe Jacoby, Carl Mecklenburg, and Steve Tasker. So Coryell's probably getting off that list pretty soon here.
No disrespect to Lewis, I put him way behind those other people.
Yeah, I mean, just how that I would take Coryell, I would take Craig, I take Jacoby, I take Mecklenburg, and I take Tasker. He's 6 out of the 6 semifinalists who are, 6 out of those.
And a good player, a
very good player.
No.
It's his last year on the ballot. There are too many other people at his position.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not taking him over Rondé Barber. You're probably not taking him. I'd take Eric Allen over him. No offense. And I don't think Eric Allen's getting there. And we still have one more coming up who's definitely going to get in. So I don't think it matters. He's not going to be a finalist.
Yep. Robert Mathis.
Yep. He's hurt by the fact Freeney's here.
Mm-hmm.
This is his second time on the second year of eligibility, second time on the ballot. The semifinalist list. Hold on one second. Actually, let me go back. I just want to see one thing on Albert Lewis. Where is he? So 2022 list. Albert Lewis is the 68th best defensive back according to that system. Just by the way.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just want to see where that was because he's pretty far down. Sorry, where were we? Robert Mathis.
Yeah.
Mathis is not going to be a finalist. He's going to be a semi-finalist for a while and eventually get in. But I don't think he's going to be there yet.
So we have the next someone who I think we both believe will be a first ballot Hall of Famer, potentially, Darrelle Revis.
Yeah, I think Revis is getting it. This is his first year on the ballot. He's going to go in before Barber. I mean, if you have Barber versus Revis, Barber's been waiting longer, but Revis has got the bigger thing. Another guy, he got his Super Bowl with the Patriots and then went left back to the Jets. So I think he's a first ballot guy, or at least potential first ballot guy. He's not as big a slam dunk as some others, but I think that he's getting in this year.
Steve Smith.
Yeah, another one of our 7 wide receivers. This is his second time as a semi-finalist. By the way, Steve Smith Sr.
Yes.
I think he's still behind Johnson. He's behind Holt. He's maybe behind Ellard for this year, at least. And we have one other finalist still to go from last year. He's not making this list till they start clearing some of these people.
There's going to be a lot of Andre Reeds.
Yeah.
Or Tim Brown, rather.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tim Brown was an incredible player. And if it took him that long to get in, like, I'm just worried we're gonna get Hines Ward in the Tim Brown thing. Cause I just, Hines Ward is maybe my least favorite player of all time. So
I made sure to mention that too on our mock committee.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've only heard part of it. I haven't had a chance to go through all of it yet. So,
Fred Taylor. I like Fred. Don't get me wrong. I think any NFL team, if you had him as your running back in his prime for an 8-year period, you're pretty happy. But you don't go to sleep thinking, I got one of the top 4 running backs in the league, because you don't.
Yeah, I mean, we ended up with two running backs on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are not in my top 3 of running backs I would have taken out of the group we had.
And again, I like this guy, but
yeah, he's not better. He was never better than Sean Alexander.
I don't know how he even differentiates between some of the other guys.
Yeah, I mean, well, he had a lot of yards, but who would you take it? Sean Alexander or Fred Taylor?
Sean Alexander, because I know that for his peak was greater.
How about Priest Holmes?
I'd lean towards Priest, but not by much.
Not by much. Tiki Barber.
Knowing what I know now, Fred.
As a player,
though. I can't. Well, because Tiki gave up.
Okay. How about Corey Dillon?
I have Taylor over Dillon.
Chris Johnson?
I have Taylor over Johnson.
Okay. Jamal Lewis.
I have Taylor over Lewis too.
Westbrook. Brian Westbrook.
I got him over Westbrook.
Okay. And then the two pound fullbacks, Lorenzo Neal and Mike Allstott.
I have them behind those two, depending on who else I've got around them.
I mean, my 3 I would have had in front of him, in my opinion, are Sean Alexander, Priest Holmes, and Lorenzo Neal. So
okay. Well, I guess I never really think about comparing them with Neal and Allstott, but
they haven't listed as running backs. They don't differentiate on that.
I always feel like I'm shitting on Fred Taylor, but I just don't see him here.
No,
they're putting me in a position to shit on him, if that makes sense.
Understood.
Yeah. Someone who who's probably gonna get in right away. Joe Thomas, first
Joe
ballot.
Thomas is getting in. Like
Yeah.
they're not even gonna have a debate about him. He's just getting in.
They're not, and I don't.
He's got to have the lowest winning percentage of any first ballot Hall of Famer of all time.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's for someone who's getting in first ballot, which is crazy.
Yeah, Joe Thomas is great as a guy on the NFL Network, by the way, too. He just says what's on his mind. Like his whole thing about when the Colts hired Jeff Saturday, his whole rant about losing the locker room and everything. He's like, and I knew about some lost locker rooms. They're 0-16 and then 1-15 in back-to-back years. But like it was really, really pretty good. And then of course the Colts went out and beat the Raiders. And
well, that's sort of a big thing. I mean, like just why were a lot of people trying to defend John Gruden? Yeah, you can defend him, and I did to a certain extent. But if you lose the locker room, you can't stay.
No.
And if they've got some people who have any kind of doubt, especially on a team that's probably, I don't know what their percentage of African Americans were, but if half of them have doubt that you're a racist, you're done.
Well, I mean, that's also the reason they can't fire their current coach, is they're currently paying 3 previous coaches still.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they're a cheap organization, and he's going to get another year.
Okay, here's something before we go on. So, like, every time Rodgers is a shit game, it's always sort of like the meme coming up. Here's Rodgers without Adams. Can we not have a meme with Adams without Rodgers?
Yeah,
because
I mean, I think Rodgers without Adams' bigger problem is ayahuasca, which apparently makes it crazy. So, and the fact that the only reason that Rodgers is without Adams is Rodgers has asked for every single freaking dollar he can, as opposed to the Tom Brady way of doing things. I'm sorry.
Yes, but Antonio Brown will tell you that Tom Brady is the biggest asshole in the entire world.
As he posts fake pictures of Brady's ex topless via bad Photoshop.
I'm telling you, so this man is in dire need of a wellness check. But
yeah. All right, next up.
Heinz Ward.
Nope, you missed one.
Oh, sorry, Zach Thomas.
Zach Thomas.
Sorry.
Zach Thomas is 5th time as a semi-finalist. He's been a finalist every single year. I'm sorry, take it back. Three of the last 3 years he's been a finalist. He is going to be on that. Like he's been on the 5-6 cut line. I feel like Bryant Young or Sam Mills took his spot last year. Like I think we all knew that Baselli, Butler, and Seymour were getting in, and I think most of us thought that Zach Thomas was getting in, and then probably someone else we haven't gotten to somehow alphabetically yet.
I think we thought Mills. I think some of us thought Mills. Like there was just that sentiment going towards him.
Yeah, well, Bryant Young was definitely the biggest surprise last year.
Well, he was a surprise just being a finalist.
Yeah, it was his second time, and he'd been on the list and off the list. But apparently, what the Willie Anderson story worked.
He was Harold Baines in.
Yeah, very much. So, yeah, I mean, Zach Thomas is right there on the cusp. According to that ranking system that they have come up with, Zach Thomas is the best person on this list. Mm-hmm. He's the best player on this list by the ranking system that they have.
Okay, so that brings us to Heinz Ward. We've kind of already talked about him. So
Heinz Ward is the 34th best wide receiver according to that system, significantly behind Bolden, Ellard, Andre Johnson, Steve Smith, Torrey Holt, and next Reggie Wayne. Can I finally say his name, or is it Andre Ware? Not Andre Ware.
It's DeMarcus Ware. Andre Ware. Back to Ward real quick. So like he's been a semifinalist every year, never been a finalist.
Yeah. So yeah, Heinz Ward is in year. This is his 7th time as a semifinalist. So
with 0 finals, and that's not going to change this year. I don't see it.
I don't think so. No.
DeMarcus Ware, who we thought was going to be a final or an inductee last year.
Yeah, I think Thomas and Ware's spots went to Young and Mills.
Mm-hmm. And now those, like you said, you've got 3 people who sort of passed them in the perceived greatness.
Right. At least one of Ware and Thomas is getting in. I think both. Because there's really no I think Ware's got a better shot because his competition for this, I guess, is Freeney and Allen,
Mhm.
as opposed to Thomas, who has also well, can we just skip for a second Patrick Willis? So
Sure.
Patrick Willis, who's a finalist last year, short career, but burned very brightly, is at least playing the same position. I think Willis is a bigger problem for Thomas than Allen or Freeney will be for Ware.
Do you have anything more to say about Waters and Wayne?
Ricky Waters is also a running back. It's his third time as a finalist. He's only got like 2 more years of eligibility.
Ricky Waters is almost a running back. The worst sort of like back end of a football card written by someone who just didn't care.
Yeah.
Like little bios on the back of the cards.
Like, hold on, where's Ricky Waters on this list?
I like Ricky Waters.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Ricky Waters, but he's the 31st best running back. And I mean, technically, he's the best running back eligible this year, according to that. But
I'd have to, well, based on who is now, who's here.
I mean, he's the best running back available here.
Yeah.
32nd best running back, just by the way, is Sean Alexander. So he's fine. He's not going to be a finalist.
Yeah, Reggie Wayne just sneaked into our group. I was surprised at the dislike of Reggie Wayne. I did not see that coming.
Yeah. So this is Reggie Wayne's 4th time as a semi-finalist. He's been a finalist. Has it been every year? Hold on. 2020 is just a pain to look at.
All 4 years.
Yeah, he's been a finalist. He's been a finalist the first 3 years. He'll be a finalist again. They need to get one of these wide receivers in.
Have to. I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either, but he will be a finalist, and we're just going to have 4 years from now. We're just going to have 14 wide receivers.
Okay. So we've already talked about Patrick Willis. So going back alphabetically, if he ever gets in, I hope his wife is the inductor, and that's Vince Wilfork.
Yeah. My other Patriot on this list, Wilfork's 2nd time. He was a semifinalist last year. A massive, not just in size, but a massive reason those Patriots teams won the Super Bowls they won. I can't believe he fell to us at number 20 in his draft. He's the best player at his position, and somehow we traded with the Ravens, and the Ravens drafted that quarterback, Kyle Bowler.
Oh man, there's a name that I never.
Yeah, so the year before they traded to get Kyle Bowler, we ended up with their 1st round pick, and that pick became Vince Wilfork. So I absolutely love Wilfork. He doesn't have any other real central defensive lineman. I just don't think he's there yet. He'll keep knocking at the door. Getting Wayne in or getting Ware in will help him significantly. I think he's just not going to quite make it at this point.
I wonder who looks better in sort of jean overalls with no t-shirt, him or me?
No offense, my friend.
That's not me.
No.
Yeah, but you haven't seen how hairy this is. That was not a selling point. You haven't eaten yet, right?
I have not eaten yet. That is true. So,
okay, good.
And one last one.
Darren Woodson.
Yeah, 7th time as a semifinalist. Never been a finalist. I think we're in that same situation with him for now.
Yeah, I'd say so. So we're going to be doing our mock committee probably on the 13th or the 14th. That's not yet decided. You're probably going to decide that, Evan, because we have to make sure you're there.
Okay.
So that'll be coming up. And a lot of people who are listening to this were helping on the first round. So we'd like you to be a part of that. So it's going to be a little bit different from what you may think if you haven't seen what we do before, because we're going to use our group 2. So we combine the entire list, which means in addition to all of these people, we're also going to be debating some names who got in that did not get in. Some that I know you're fond of, but they are Sean Alexander, who we've talked about, Reuben Brown, Ben Coates, Randall Cunningham, Tom Nalen, big shock there, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Leslie O'Neill, Neil Smith, Pat Swilling, Richmond Webb, Kevin Williams, Steve Wisniewski.
Okay.
I know you had
the list we have I just want to go through the system that, again, you can come up with whatever system you want, but the system that they have on Pro Football Reference for an average Hall of Famer is 100 rating. Okay. Out of all the people eligible, or all the people who are on the preliminary list, 5 players have at least 100 score. Zach Thomas, Patrick Willis, Reggie Wayne, Torrey Holt, and Kevin Williams. What the F, guys? Did he, like, he's not on social media. So unless he's sending private text messages to people, I don't know who he could have possibly offended. But it was Kevin Williams and Pat Williams in the center of that Vikings defense, led the league in rushing yards, in total rushing yards for 5 consecutive seasons. What are we doing here? I am not a Vikings fan. And after this Thanksgiving, I'm definitely not a Vikings fan. We'll get to that later.
As a Saints fan, you and I are in sort of the same thing.
Yeah, like, what are we doing? How is Kevin Williams not a semifinalist? I love Vince Wilfork. I love him. Kevin Williams is a better player than Vince Wilfork. And I still think Vince Wilfork is one of the best 25 players, in my opinion, on this list. But Kevin Williams is a better player than Vince Wilfork. And he's not here. I do not understand.
Well, I mean, there's a couple here that sort of got to me a little bit.
Steve Wisniewski also should be here.
That was one that's a little,
like, why? Yeah, and the other one, Leroy Glover, is somebody who is worthy of being here.
That's
Leroy Glover and Kevin Williams are the second team all decade for the 2000s.
Actually, incidentally, too, a couple that we have now for our first time as a semifinalist. I think it's going to be really interesting to do a deeper dive. I'm looking forward to doing more on Neil Smith and Ben Coates. So
yeah, Neil Smith is criminally underrated as well. Leslie O'Neal and Neil Smith, the two of them, and the AFC West were fantastic. Ben Coates overall doesn't rank up in terms of all the totals and everything. And again, I'm a Patriots fan, so whatever. But Ben Coates is by far the best tight end eligible for this list. The only other two are Dallas Clark and Wesley Walls. So I'm damning him with faint praise on this. No offense to Dallas Clark. Offense to Wesley Walls. Wesley Walls and who the 3 people who were the easiest to eliminate when I was doing this were Wesley Walls, Jake Delhomme, and Alan Rawson.
For me, it was every punter not named Leckler.
Well, that was also easy. But, like, Alan Rawson is the 853rd best defensive back. Like, what are we doing here? So Coates will be an interesting one. He was all-decade team in the 90s. He's the backup tight end on that one. The second tight end. He was amazing. If you guys don't know anything about him, go watch his highlights. He looks like Gronk, just with crazier shoulder pads and different skin tone.
But not as crazy.
No, 100% not as crazy. But when the Patriots fans got to vote for their players to get in the Hall of Fame, which is one of our processes we love, the first person they put in was Stanley Morgan, who's been on the seniors list over and over again. The second person they put in was Ben Coates. Like,
as you can hear in the background, it's Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. The beasts.
I can't hear, but I'm old, so who knows?
Okay, well, the beasts are being fed. So yes, the head beast decides to pick on the little beast, saying like, "No, you can't have my food."
Got it.
Also, probably mad because the little beast still poops in the house. Yeah.
So, just by the way, the only players from the '90s all-decade team not in: Ben Coates, Richmond Webb. Who was a second tackle. So the tackles, Willie Roaf, Gary Zimmerman, Baselli are all in now. Richmond's the only one left. For guards, Bruce Matthews, Randall McDaniel, Larry Allen are in. Steve Wisniewski's never been a finalist. Centers are DeMonte Dawson is in. Mark Stupnowski's never even been begun to be talked about. Defensive end, Bruce Smith, Reggie White, Chris Dolman. Neil Smith is the other one, not here. Linebackers, The whole second team, Hardy Nicholson, Cornelius Bennett, and Levon Kirkland aren't here. Carnell Lake, and then we get into kickers and punters and punt returners and stuff. But I mean, every skilled offensive player on the all-decade team from the 90s is there, except for Pencoats.
Yeah.
So,
well, do we look at? Well, I guess we look at those we've lost.
Yeah.
Interesting list from what I know.
It is. I will start with the beige mistress has struck again.
Oh.
Coleman Mazzoli.
Uh-huh.
Apologies to his family if I've mispronounced that. Played for the Hungarian national soccer team from 61 to 71 with 61 appearances and 6 goals. Passed away at the age of 81. So, so just a couple other people from other countries to talk about quickly. I do want to point out one of probably, I know how much you love the royal family up there in Canada. But
I don't hate them. I just hate that we still pay money towards it.
Dame Frances Olivia Campbell Preston passed away at the age of 104. What do you think Dame Frances Olivia Campbell Preston did for her life from 1965 through 2002?
I can't think of anything that's not a dirty joke, so just tell me.
She was the lady in waiting to the Queen Mother.
I don't even know what that means. What does the lady in waiting do?
Nobody knows, but she was appointed commander of the Royal Victorian Order and Dame Commander in whatever system they have. I just was like, I have no idea what the heck this is.
Like a stunt double when she doesn't want to have sex with the king or something?
That would be much more interesting than I think it actually is. So let me click on lady in waiting here. The female personal assistant at court, attending a royal woman or high-ranking noblewoman.
So it's an executive assistant.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but she passed away.
It's far more interesting.
But she somehow, as Dame Commander, whatever that means, of the Royal Victorian Order. But she passed away at the age of 104. More importantly, Hebe de Bonafini passed away, which I know is a name you do not know.
I do not know.
But she brought down a government. She was the leader of the Mothers of the Plaza de Mayo. So in Argentina, the military junta disappeared a whole bunch of people.
I knew when it was something like this, I knew it was going to be South America because that's the back. I knew it.
And they were arresting people, making them disappear. And she was the one who organized the women to get together. A whole bunch of grandmothers led the march.
You told me about this story.
Yes. And the other people we talked about, another couple have passed away. She was the one in charge of this group.
Okay. Is this why this came up? It had to have been, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, she these are mothers of people whose sons had disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
They marched on the soldiers, and the soldiers refused to fire, and the military dictatorship fell. Yeah. Her husband disappeared in 1982 and passed away. He was born in 42, died in 82. But yeah, she passed away at the age of 93. She was 14 years older than her husband. But she died at the age of 93, just led a movement that brought down a government peacefully. Or not that many people in the world has ever done that. Mm-hmm. So Godspeed to Hebe de Bonafini. Okay, in terms of other folks, we have a lot of folks from music, but we'll get to them later. I want to bring up a very minor point in baseball history. Dave Hillman passed away at the age of 95. 21-37 win-loss record. But Dave Hillman is important because he was traded for Dick Gernert in the first ever trade that didn't have to go through waivers in the history of Major League Baseball.
Oh.
So, yes, it was Dick Gernert to the Cubs for Dave Hillman to the Red Sox. The Cubs and Red Sox made the first ever interleague trade that didn't have to go through waivers. But he passed away at the age of 95.
Okay, interesting.
And from the world of boxing, we lost a couple people. I guess saddest, Mexican professional boxer and former WBO minimum weight title holder, Moises Fuentes, who also held the junior flyweight title, passed away in the ring at the age of 37.
Oh, I missed that.
So I'm sorry, he didn't actually pass away in the ring. He got a blood clot in a fight he had with David Cuellar and was in the hospital ever since and died from the blood clot. So also passing away, Buster Drayton, who was the former IBF champion, passed away at the age of 70. So he was 28. I'm sorry, he was 40 and 15 in his career, but held the WBA light middleweight title and the IBF light middleweight title. We also lost two-time NCAA championship winning head coach on collegiate track and field, Bill Bergen of the Iowa State Cyclones and the Iowa State Cyclones cross country team. The only national championships that Iowa State has, I believe, are his two in track and field.
Well, that's the only national championships they have, period?
I think so.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Iowa State doesn't. Oh, actually, I take that back. Wrestling. They have multiple in wrestling.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry about that. Iowa State, Iowa, those two schools dominate wrestling. So, but in terms of outside of wrestling, I'm pretty sure it's only once. But he's a member of the U.S. Track and Field Hall of Fame, member of the Iowa State Cyclones Hall of Fame, and two-time NCAA Coach of the Year in 1983 and 1986. Which, interesting, were not years that he won the cross-country championship, which he did in 89 and 94. So, but he passed away at the age of 80. Also passing away, former owner of the Celtics, and most importantly, the Kentucky Colonels, John Y. Brown Jr., also former governor of Kentucky and used to be married to Phyllis George, among others.
Is he the guy who made like the most brilliant deal?
Which one?
Okay, I could be mistaken here, but I only half remember this from reading this something Bill Simmons wrote. When the ABA folded, teams were just pretty much kicked out, and then were able to get some kind of perpetual deal. So it was what I guess St. Louis, Kentucky, and then either way, somebody just made the right call and just made bank forever.
Yeah, it might have been. I don't actually have that in here.
Okay. Well, might not. Either way, sorry. I should have. I should actually look up it so I know who we're talking about. I kind of like being surprised sometimes. So.
Yeah. So he owned the Kentucky Colonels, and then they folded, and he took half ownership of the Buffalo Braves, and then took over the Buffalo Braves, and then traded his franchise with the Celtics owner Irv Levin, and moved the team to California, making them the San Diego Clippers. So he traded franchises with someone else. He's like, I don't want to own the Buffalo Braves anymore. You want to move a team to California? Fine. I'll take the Celtics off your hands.
And then Donald Sterling said, you know what? Hold my beer. I can make you look real good.
Yes. And by the way, you know why the team was named the Kentucky Colonels?
I just assumed because I honestly thought it was because of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Right. He was the CEO of Kentucky Fried Chicken at the time. He's the one who took him national. Okay. So very, very interesting man. Passed away at the age of 88.
Well, look at that. Every now and then I get something right.
Yeah. Pretty much everyone else, except for we have one hockey one to talk about, which is big. But pretty much everyone else, I think, here is music. Oh, no. Sorry. I think also the last remaining cast member of Gone with the Wind passed away. Mickey Kuhn passed away at the age of 90. That movie came out in 1939. There's still people alive.
Still never seen it. Probably never.
No, you don't need to.
Probably not.
Oh, sorry. One other person, Joyce Bryant, the African-American Marilyn Monroe, passed away at the age of 95, the first African-American sex symbol in the country. Anyway, all right. So off of all of that, to go with music.
Okay.
Wilco Johnson passed away of Dr. Feelgood and the Blockheads. Also played Sir Ilan Payne on the first couple of seasons of Game of Thrones before he had to leave because he came down with cancer. But he was guitarist with Dr. Feelgood. He also wrote a couple songs for Roxette as well. He passed away of leukemia at the age of 75.
You know, I always said that you and I could pretend we're Daft Punk, and who would really know? If we both put on British accents, we could just say, "Oh yeah, we were in that Game of Thrones episode," because they had so many damn characters.
Oh,
We
of
could
course.
probably get away with that for just a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah.
Also passing away, Charles Koppelman, the former CEO of EMI, and Steve Madden, passed away at the age of 82. Okay. Also passing away, rock and roll singer Tommy Facenda, best known for his 1959 single "High School USA," but also a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, as he was inducted with the Blue Caps when they did that special thing. Gene Vincent's backup band, they put in Gene Vincent with that Blue Caps, so he was a Blue Cap, and he passed away at the age of 83. Also passing away, Ken Mansfield, the manager of Apple Records, the United States, was 85. Worked with, of course, the Beatles, but also Beach Boys, Waylon Jennings, James Taylor, Roy Orbison, Don Ho, the Imperials, Harry Nilsson, Glenn Campbell, Buck Owens, Lou Rawls, Andy Williams, the Flying Burrito Brothers, Badfinger, Judy Garland, Dolly Parton. It just goes on and on and on and on.
But other than that, he worked with nobodies.
Other than that, he didn't know anyone. But he passed away at the age of 85. Also passing away, Donald Newkirk, American musician, composer, record producer. Also very well known for his voiceovers on R&B albums. So including 3 Feet High and Rising from De La Soul and a few other folks like that.
Okay.
He passed away at the age of, I need to figure this out, either 67 or 66. They're not sure what year he was born. Also, greatest modern classical music composer Ned Rorem passed away at the age of 99. Won Pulitzer Prize in music in 1976, but has over 500 orchestral works that he composed during his lifetime. So he passed away at the age of 99. Danny Caleb also passed away, original member of the 60s group The Blues Project, their main guitarist, passed away at the age of 80. Oh, sorry, I did miss one other person. The producer of The Godfather Part 2 and Apocalypse Now and a few other things, Gray Fredrickson, passed away at the age of 85. The Red Power Ranger, Jason David Frank, committed suicide and passed away at the age of 49. And then our two big names of the week. Do you want to do music or hockey first?
See music first.
Irene Cara passed away at the age of 63.
Yeah, did that happen today? Because I just read that.
It happened yesterday.
It happened yesterday. Okay. Yeah, she's an interesting one to me. 2 massive hits, both for movies. One of which she starred. Well, what was one of the people in the ensemble? Fame, which is a great song. I love that song. Flashdance, it doesn't necessarily speak to me as much, but she's someone who I wondered why she wasn't necessarily bigger. And I don't know if it's because of the material that was given to her. You know, she had the voice, she had the look.
Yep.
What? I don't quite know why she wasn't bigger than she was. Saying that, I mean, I don't want to sort of like dismiss somebody who's done exceptionally well for herself. 2 number ones. You know, 2 number ones. Okay, yeah, maybe she wasn't as big as I thought she was going to be in 1981 as a kid. Well, okay, well, she still did really well. And I don't know really what happened to her after the mid 80s though.
Yeah. I mean, she kept making music, but yeah, she had the 2 number ones. She also hit the charts in 83 with Why Me, in 84 with Breakdance, and in 80 with Out Here on My Own. So she had 4 top 40. Oh, sorry, Dream, Hold On to Your Dream also hit. So she had 5 top 40 hits between 80 and 84. But yeah, I don't know. She was found dead in her home. I don't see her I don't see a reason as of the moment. So But anyway, and then the hockey one. Please, if I mispronounce his first name, let me know. Borje Salming.
Yeah, Boris Alming, yeah. I was going to talk about him a couple weeks ago because I generally dump on the Toronto Maple Leafs because I hate them. They had the Hockey Hall of Fame game, and Boria was out there, and I knew he had ALS. I didn't know to what degree, and he was there, and in a super classy moment, because they were playing Vancouver appropriately because the Sedins got in, right. So Toronto put out the all to open the game an all Swedish lineup. And Vancouver doesn't have 5 Swedish players, but I mean, like with the opening face-off, it was crap. I forget which referee. I want to say Ekman Larson, but I could be wrong. But either way, Toronto did everything they could to honor Boria, who actually was standing. So I didn't realize he was in this stage because I keep thinking of Steve Gleason, who seems to have been in that wheelchair. Oh God.
Well, his family said that was going to be his last public appearance.
Okay. Yeah, because like his mouth was open, so he couldn't communicate. But I mean, he was still walking pretty much on his own power with a little bit of help. But Sittler was there, his longtime teammate. I mean, like it was very, very emotional. I can see how much it meant to him. He dropped the puck, and I was thinking about this too. It's you and I sort of again we talk about this as two white guys trying to talk about like racism. We try not to, but it always permeates back in here. Technically, and I know we're talking about a white guy, but in the mid 70s, what Boreas Salming was able to do is crazy because Canada, especially, when the Don Cherry mentality.
Yeah, I said Don Cherry still thinks that Swedes are too soft.
Well, but at the time he was right. I hate to be blunt, but they were considered softer players. Boria wasn't a tough player, but Boria was so goddamn skilled, it didn't matter. So you protect him. I mean, it's funny. Gretzky was not a tough player either.
No,
but you protect the skill players. This was again that sort of like ties in, I guess, why some people might have a Cherry issue, but that's for another day. So Boria had to face quite a bit to even get just a tryout, let alone like make the team. But he was that good, that important, and he proved to really everybody, because there were Swedish players in the WHA before, which sort of was that step to get you here, but that proved to Swedish, Finnish players, Czech, well, no, because they were in the, I wouldn't say not so much Czech, because I don't know how much they would have been watching that, because they were still part of the Soviet bloc then, but that was he was a vital cog into why you see so many great Swedish players now. Like I think you brought this up from one of your friends. Can you tell the story of this without so and so? And you can't really without Boreas Salming. I truly believe that. Never won a Norris, but I believe it was a 2 or 3 time first team All Pro, which basically means you were the runner up or All Star. So I mean, damn, like just phenomenal player, a class guy. And here, a raise to the Leafs, man, because like the way you did that and honored him was fantastic, and I was very impressed. Very, very impressed. It's something that sure as hell wouldn't have happened in the Ballard organization when I was a kid. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah. So
it was great to see. Great to see, and thankfully he got to do that before he passed on.
Yeah. So that is our list for the week.
Yeah. So at this point, then we go to elevator up, elevator down.
Elevator up, elevator down.
Ted, if you're watching, and I know you are because you put this stuff up, you said like, hey, how come I didn't have an elevator up, elevator down? You made a little special thing, so I don't know what it is. So is it elevator up, ding, down? I don't know what you're doing. So, I'm looking.
I can't believe we have an effects budget. That's really I want to. So.
Oh yeah, I got nothing smart ass to say here. I thought I had, but then I just fell out of my head, like so many things do. I don't have any elevator up. Elevator down. I just have one elevator up, and it's going to be a really quick one. Cordell Patterson. We talked a bit about Jeff Hester. Patterson is now the all-time leader in kickoff returns for a touchdown. Now, Patterson is, I don't know if we want to say that he's the heir apparent to Hester in terms of returners,
He's much more accomplished on other parts of his game than Hester ever was.
I agree, but he's not still the same game changer that Hester was. But
Right.
now he's got a record. It may not be the
Mhm.
most impressive, but it's a record. It's something.
True.
If Devin Hester gets
It's what Julian Edelman's entire argument was, that he was second in something. This guy's first in something.
this is to me is like when last year I had my elevator up as Justin Tucker, who set the record for the longest field goal. It's now
Mhm.
this other giant notch in his belt
Mm-hmm.
that it's going to be really goddamn hard to take from you.
Mm-hmm.
So he is my elevator up. This will be probably the second. Well, this is, I think he's already at 1,000 from scrimmage this year, which will make it the second year in a row he's done that. I don't think Hester ever did. So, but Patterson is, I believe, 30. So he's running out of
I
time.
think he's 31. He's 31, I'm pretty
He's
sure.
31. Okay. So he's 31.
Because they mentioned it after he had the kickoff return.
Okay. So he's 31. He's already on his fourth team. So this is something that he needs. I don't think he'll ever get in, frankly, but this is, another thing to put on the resume. If Hester gets in, obviously he's the next best beneficiary. I don't think there's anyone close at this point.
No.
You could say that about. But yeah, that's the person that I will say.
That's a pretty good one.
And congratulations to Albert Pujols' PEDs for finishing second in the comeback player of the year. Sorry.
Very good. He couldn't have used PEDs. He's a Cardinal.
Oh, that's true.
Sorry.
They don't do that.
No, Tony La Russa would never have allowed it in his locker room.
Harris Knight. Still rocking the same hair since 1981. I love it.
I mean, the fact he kept falling asleep during baseball games this year actually gives some credence to the idea that he didn't actually know what was going on in his locker room when he was a manager. So, anyway.
Hey, you can vote for him as one of the contributors on www.nothalloffame.com/USA contributors.
Yep.
You probably won't, but you can. Well, Evan won't, but you can.
You could. So, all right. So that leaves with the
bad, the ugly, and good. Because we only
bad, the ugly, and the good. I can start with the bad, and this is going to sound like sour grapes. I understand. But I'm very much annoyed that we're back to the point where we don't know what a catch is in the NFL. So I know that you were asleep at this point, probably on Thanksgiving, as a lot of people may have been. By the way, that the woke NFL has heard it so much that the most watched regular season game of all time was the Giants and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. But
sorry, for what NFL?
The most watched regular season NFL game was the Giants Cowboys on Thanksgiving. But the wokeness of the NFL is going to destroy it.
Just like how the wokeness in the NHL. I mean, you don't have to agree with whatever. I'm still watching anyway. But yeah, that actually will tie in with the ugly later.
Yeah, we'll get to the ugly in a second. But third quarter, maybe it was the beginning of the fourth quarter. Mac Jones throws a laser beam to Hunter Henry. Henry catches it, goes to ground, has his hand under the ball like this, turns over, and as he turns over, the ball bobbles a little bit, but he catches it. Ball never touches the ground. Okay? It was originally ruled a touchdown on the field. Overturned, saying that it wasn't a touchdown because the ball hit the ground, which it never did. More maddening was the fact that the booth has Mike Pereira, who used to be the head of officials, who said that it wasn't a catch because you have to survive the ground in the catch. Now, any Steelers or Patriots fan is going to know that this rule was changed, because I can tell you the exact last catch that was overturned because of this rule. It's the 2018 playoffs, Steelers-Patriots. Jesse James catches a ball, takes 2 steps, comes across the end zone, tries to dive in. The ball comes out as he's hitting the ground, and they ruled no catch, no touchdown because he didn't survive the ground. That rule was so bad. Going back to did Megatron matter? Remember, the most famous one of these is that Megatron celebrated by putting the ball down as he turned over, and they called it no touchdown. then that wasn't enough because it's the Lions. It wasn't enough for them to do anything. But my goodness, the Steelers were victimized. So they had to do something next year and they got rid of it. So they got rid of it after the 2018 season. Mike Pereira is on TV confidently asserting that you have to survive the ground with a catch. And if the former head of officials doesn't know the rule and you're bringing him on the national broadcast and he's confidently misstating the rule, if they make the correct call there, what happens?
He's still better than Troy Aikman.
But Troy Aikman isn't an expert on the rules.
I know. I just couldn't help it.
Yeah, well, I would have preferred Troy Aikman because this is the first year Troy had the year off for Thanksgiving. He and Buck together had never had Thanksgiving off since they've been together. Instead, we got the clapper and I hate gays Tony Dungy, who hates only thing he hates more than gays in his locker room are the Patriots. Like it was just
Tony Dungy hates gay people?
He did a whole thing when Michael Sam.
Okay, the way I remember, he says he wouldn't have drafted him because he didn't want the distraction. Did he say that he doesn't like gay people? That's a big difference.
He does not want gay people in his locker room. You tell me what that means.
That's what he said specifically?
He said, well, because it was a distraction. You tell me what that means.
Yes. I don't know.
I mean, Jerry Jones didn't want black people in his school because they were a distraction in 1957. We have the video picture evidence of that this week.
Okay, I missed that.
Well, you missed that?
Yeah.
So they were doing a whole thing on Jerry Jones, the Washington Post.
When was the Jerry Jones picture? I just thought it was bad plastic surgery. Like, no. Seriously, that was the first thing I thought.
No, so there's a famous picture of all the white students stopping the African-American students from integrating North Little Rock High School in 1957. One of the white students there trying to stop him is Jerry Jones, who he confirmed it. Yeah.
Hall of Famer Jerry Jones. Hall of Famer Tony Dungy.
Right, but Jerry Jones was just, you don't want the black people there because they're going to be a distraction to them. I mean, what else? What are we doing here? So, but the point of the matter, and I was just going off of Tony Dungy because my opinion on Tony Dungy. There's maybe no more overrated coach in the history of the world than Tony Dungy. But the idea that we again don't know the rules on what a catch is, it was 100% touchdown. There's a play earlier this year where Travis Kelce caught it with 1 foot, dove for the end zone, kind of got across, and the ball hit ball at the ground and sprinting away in other directions. And they called that a touchdown. He caught it, was over the line to begin with, went to the ground, never dropped it. It was no catch. It's dumb.
It is stuff like this, though, because my dad's not a sports fan, as I think I've told you a few times here in the past. So the few times that he'd actually watch it with me, and then they're going to the replays, and he'd say, like, how the hell can they not know this right away? I got no answer for him. It's stuff.
I mean, I could show you my fantasy football chat. All of us are like, they got rid of that rule. What the hell's Pereira talking about? Because we all know it, because we remember that game. That catch was so egregious. I'm a Patriots fan. That was a touchdown. It should have been a touchdown, but under the rules.
In case people didn't know you were a Patriots fan. So
yeah, in case they didn't know. Tony
Dungy. That's from your hat.
And the fact it says Boston on my shirt. But like we knew under the rules that wasn't a touchdown, it should have been 100%, right? It's like the tuck rule. That was a fumble, but under the rules, it wasn't at the time.
Someone should do a classic sports review on that. Oh, wait a minute. I already did.
I was there. I know because I was there.
Yes.
But anyway, I
pitched that there to you.
Thank you. We got to figure this out again. We got to just know what the rule is. Make sure everybody knows what the rule is. The Patriots probably still lose that game because they made a lot of stupid errors, right? But at the end of the game, they were down a touchdown when they should have been down 3 points. Big difference getting the ball with 56 seconds left when you need a field goal versus when you need a touchdown. Yeah. And those 4 points were cost them by the referees not knowing the rules.
Well, but it's not as ugly. We talked about, if you want to talk about the whole gay stuff, here we go.
There we go. So let me start with the soccer part of Qatar just to be happy. The soccer's been pretty interesting. It's been low scoring. It's been a little bit tight so far.
Bad for me as a German fan. But yeah,
Yeah, well, yeah, Argentina. I was worried about Argentina today, but they came through 2-0 against Mexico. So, and the U.S. won 1-0 against England. You didn't get the joke there. Okay.
There is a lot of silver lining. It's like when Canada, we lost to Belgium. I went to watch that game, and it was kind of neat being at a full bar, watching a pile of people, really getting into that, watching Canada in a game that mattered and a game that we played so well in.
Yeah. Canada played exceptionally well. The U.S. played exceptionally well. Neither team could score. As we came down to
played super well against Wales. Just sometimes it just.
We played super well the first half. That second half was not that great. But the U.S. played 2 really good halves against England and should have scored. Weston McKennie should have scored at least once. So anyway, regardless, sometimes you just don't score. That happens. And the Patriots, the U.S. had their number 1 goal scorer during qualifying decided he wasn't good enough to come to the World Cup. So don't even get me started. But so the soccer's been good and interesting, and there have been some interesting upsets. Germany losing, Saudi Arabia winning, but off the field,
has been exactly what you thought it would be. And if anyone thought differently, you weren't paying attention.
A FIFA official, female, had to leave the country because she reported that she'd been raped, and they were going to charge her with having sex out of marriage, give her 100 lashes, and sentence her to 7 years in jail. This is a FIFA official.
Where was she from?
Belgium. Well, no, I'll find out for you.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, go on. I mean, and again, this is that's their law. I mean, we knew this shit going in. But yeah, go on. You have more to that. You want
to? Mexican.
Mexico. Okay,
she was Mexican, but I'm actually gonna let you go on this a little bit more because you have some ideas.
All right. Okay. There's not one person when Qatar. I don't think there's any person in the West who, when Qatar got that, went, "Oh, that sounds like on the up and up."
Yeah.
We all knew what this was. This was a country that got it completely through bribery. This is not one of those things where.
Well, don't forget they awarded 2018 and 2022 the same day. So they went Russia, Qatar on their 2 places.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least Russia can play.
True.
So there's that at least going up. With Qatar, you've got a country that's never qualified, and I'll just say this on the first game where they lost, and what pissed me off, and probably pissed you off as a fan, right? Because I dream of going to a World Cup one day, and I think that's what you and I are going to do. We have to do this. Right. Maybe Toronto, because Toronto's hosting. I think that'd be an awesome place to do that.
Chicago is not. So,
well, there you go. Toronto. All right. Now I can show you.
Foxborough is, which is going to be a pain in the ass for everybody to get to. I can't wait for that idea.
Either way, we're doing it.
Fine.
Locked in. We're doing this.
Sure.
Okay. My wife's right around me. Honey, I'm going to the World Cup. Okay. I don't know if you heard that.
Oh, she speaks.
Yes. She can speak. She can do lots of things.
Anyway, continue.
Mostly tolerate my ass, which is
that is a superpower right there.
Not that right. She just said she lets me talk. Also true. Well, okay. So, anyways, I dream of that. If I go to a game and Canada's getting our ass kicked, I'm not leaving halfway through. Like the Qataris did. Even if I'm in Canada, I'm not doing that. That was, to me, that was an insult to just all the fans who were going there. And that's the least egregious thing they did. So what was it? A few days before, they pretty much screw over Budweiser. Not that I feel bad for the big corporation, but they still paid a lot of money for it. And said, okay, you know what? No, we're just going to stick to our values. And then right up there, oh, well. So in all the other Western countries who were going to display, I guess, whatever armbands, I think the U.S. they changed some stripes. And then I don't know what the whole story was.
Germany was the most strident about this,
right? And that's sort of where, again, where sometimes you'll hear some of the right wing. See, they got distracted. Like they didn't get fucking distracted. They got in that game. They got punched in the face and they didn't know what to do.
And England got booed when they took a knee. Because the England players always take a knee against racism, stand up to racism. They do it all the way through.
And, you know,
everything.
I've said the same thing pretty much since day one. We've been talking about this. Athletes can say as much or nothing. If I can do that, then they can do that.
Yeah, and one other thing, they don't have all those hotel rooms there they're going to build have no water and no toilets and no nothing. And they had the Kuwaiti Qatari government just offered full refunds to everybody who booked them. But what that means for having to get somewhere else, I don't know. But those things I told you last week, they're going to be, or 2 weeks ago, they're going to be a disaster. And they were.
And it has been. I don't know if I can get my wife to talk about this, but she's had some people. No, she said no. But I mean, like basically, she could have made some pretty good money, or a lot of other people, because they were desperate for people. Like in the hospitality for the World Cup. That's true, right? Okay, yeah. Wasn't a talk, but it was a yes.
It's you've sourced that better than most.
Yes. So yeah, I mean everything's been a disaster. Now in terms of the whole LGBT thing, okay, so now if you want to go there and try to pull off a virtue signal, okay, whatever. But if you really want to do a virtue signal, don't go. You know what this is. You knew 10 years what this was. You could have organized something else. Now the money wouldn't be there, but you don't go there just, well, here's our little thing, and then you back down. And then you all back down. You know, when it came right down to it. So I can't say that I'm huge on their values. Obviously, I'm not, but you knew this going in. What did you think they were going to do? It's like Chris Rock said when Siegfried and Roy got attacked by the tiger, or one of them. He said, they weren't attacked by the tiger didn't go nuts. This was a tiger being tiger. This is Qatar being Qatar. What did you think they were going to do?
Yeah, the scorpion and the frog.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yes, I know that. Yeah. You know, or I've always heard it as a snake and the frog, but still. Yeah, but you know, same idea. Like, well, it's in my nature. That's what they were gonna do, and they already bought it. They already bought this, so like they're gonna put forth their stuff the way they want it. And if anyone thought otherwise, you were fooling yourself. And if you thought you were going to go over there and just change their opinion, you weren't. You were not. And bluntly, it's not your place to do it. It's not. I mean, I may not agree with virtually anything they stand for, but it's not our place. Come here and try to install that value here. No, it is. Now, my issue, and I want to know, why isn't Megan Rapinoe saying anything?
She's in that commercial.
With the makeup commercial. Oh, yeah.
No, she's also in at the end of the soccer football thing with the Manning and Beckham.
Oh, okay. So she took money knowing where that was going. Okay. Not a surprise. Okay, Megan. This is what you do. You are the leading figure in this and have been for a long time. Does this stop at your border? I guess it does. You've got nothing to say? Nothing? Nothing. Because it goes against her brand, and her brand is, we are the most, thinking about the United States, like everything here is the worst. So she can't sort of like point out anything where it's obvious that that's not the case. And you know, that's my problem with a lot of activists. It always stops whenever it becomes inconvenient. Same with the climate activists. I'm with you on a lot of that stuff. How come you're not protesting in front of the Chinese embassy? You know, the biggest polluters on the planet?
I mean, people do, though.
Not very many.
True.
Yeah. No, because it's more important to throw soup at Van Gogh painting.
Well, that's also
that means. So that's sort of like one thing. That sort of like bothered me. Like, it's your sport. and it's your biggest issue, and you've got nothing to say. Your last Instagram post was a sponsored post for, I don't know what the hell it was.
Yeah.
Hypocrite. But anyway, that's just me. I that really bothered me. That's something where I just want, I hate activism when it's convenient and when you get paid. And that's who she is to me. Having said that, when she's eligible for the United States Athletic Hall of Fame, I will support her nomination because she was that good.
She's the World Football Player of the Year at one point.
I shouldn't use her in past tense because she's still decent.
Right. But I mean, she's not at her top of her level where she was before.
No.
So anyway, let's move on out of this. So
yeah, that was just the one thing. I mean, like,
so
I feel dirty when I watch it, actually.
Well, speaking of feeling dirty when I watch it, college football.
That's your good.
I know it's been good. I know, but I have to say, like, I don't normally watch college football. I actually did watch a few games today, including quite a bit of Ohio State and Michigan. I understand why people watch these games. It was super fun, and even though it was cool seeing Marvin Harrison Jr. out there, and like it was like Michigan won. I don't care between Michigan and Ohio State. My wife's former roommate's a huge Ohio State fan. And I have a couple of friends who are huge Michigan fans.
Ohio? She went to Bowling Green.
She's from Illinois.
She went to school.
Yeah, she went to school at Bowling Green, though.
Okay, that's why I guess where I thought that. I almost have to cheer for Ohio State because Chris Bernay, who I partner with, who I'll be promoting later, that's where he works now, is in Ohio State. He lives in Columbus.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Cool. Yeah. But it's just super fun on these rivalry games to see everybody into it and craziness, and it was awesome. So I just want to say, college football, I watched 1 week this year, and it was fun. That's all.
How did we not figure out to end in the good?
I don't know. And one other thing, just I want to say, and I didn't necessarily, it's not going to surprise anyone. Congratulations to Patrice Bergeron, 1,000 points, 95th player, 1,000 points, highest plus minus of any player with 1,000 points.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's a trivia question for you, though.
Sure.
He's the fourth player to have 1,000 points in a Bruins uniform. Can you name the other three?
Okay, let's see. Well, Bobby Orr.
One. He's actually second.
Phil Esposito.
No.
Esposito doesn't have 1,000 with that.
No, with us. He has 1,000 in his career, but not with us.
Okay. John Busick.
Johnny Busick's third.
Okay. John Rattel? Probably not.
Nope.
Middleton? No, he didn't do it.
No.
Bork?
There you go. Bork's number one.
Oh.
Bork or Busick, and now Bergeron. So
no, I understand that.
He'll pass Busick probably sometime in next month. He got a point 1,001 last night, and Busick's at 1,013.
Yeah, you know, Bork's a favorite of one of the Muppets, right?
Bork.
Damn it! I was gonna do the whole thing, but you kind of beat me to it.
Yeah, well, whatever you say. But anyway, no, I just want to say it's been fun to watch. It was fun to watch college football for a day. Okay. And now I'm gonna go back to ignoring it because it makes me feel dirty. So
yeah, I mean the NCAA, college football, the Olympics, and FIFA. I think John Oliver does a great takedown of FIFA, and he pretty much says the same thing. I can't stop watching it.
Of course not. I mean, it's the best athletes in the world representing that country. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, tomorrow could be an awful day for me. I could see the Saints losing, Canada lose, Germany lose and get eliminated, and I'm getting my ass kicked in fantasy football. Whamp. Already.
Yeah, I won my league last year, and everything has gone entirely wrong this year.
I started 5-0, and I'm on a 1-5 streak.
I started 0-2. I got to 3-2, and then I'm now 3-8. So everything I do, whatever I do, I pick the wrong thing. So
now it's time to plug.
Oh, that sounds good.
All right. So latest interview I just did with Ken Crippen from the Football Learning Academy is up. Check that out. And it's something that I highly recommend, Football Learning Academy. And if you want to learn about like old school football, it's a great resource. So I highly recommend that. Chris Bourdain and I, who I just mentioned, we do a show called How the Hell This Crap is on National Television. Sorry, I've got a lot of shows now. We finally set a date. We're going to do on this Friday. We're going to record the Battle of the Network Stars, episode 12. This is not necessarily a crap thing. We're just having fun. We both grew up on. We're both around the same age, so all these TV stars. It's kind of fun. So this is going to be sort of a bit of a departure But I'm really looking forward to that. We just recorded on How the Hell Did This Go #1, the Trogs. Wild thing.
Oh, they got investigated by the FBI for that one.
They did?
Yeah, they and Louie for Louie
I knew
Louie.
Louie did. I didn't know the Trogs did. I didn't talk about that when I did that. Okay.
Well, maybe it's just Louie. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, continue.
All right. Next week, I picked one. I did this for Brad because, I mean, like, who doesn't want to talk about hot twins, huh? Hot twins with the long blonde hair. It's Nelson! Love and affection. So we're looking at that next week. Vinny Los Benuso, Vinny makes the Hall of Fame case for. He just did one on Timothy Nugent, the father of accessibility and the person who brought us. He didn't create wheelchair basketball, but he made it what it is today.
Cool.
So that's a pretty good show. And we are in the embryonic stages of 3 more programs because, like, I don't have enough more to do.
Right, of course you don't. So.
And it ends with that. Happy Thanksgiving again, everyone.
Same, yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, even those in Canada who celebrate in the wrong month.
Well, we think we celebrate in the right month.
You also think that flavor has a U.
Yeah, you also think that miles make sense as opposed to kilometers, and meters were, kilo, 1,000 and something. Hey, there's a logical progression. Having said that, ask me how tall I am in meters, and I can't tell you.
Yeah, the only a kilometer is what's in the bottom of a Rambo movie telling me how many people he shot.
Okay, I didn't see that one coming. Well done.
Yeah, sorry, I workshopped that one earlier. Someone posted about it. Anyway, let's get out of here while we can.
Wherever you are, wherever you may be, stay safe.
All right, take care, guys.